Erika.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. So, thank you for joining us today on the part 3 of Build Your Career with Salesforce LinkedIn Live series. Today, we have a very special guest, Erika McEvilley, who is a Salesforce developer. So, Erika, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So, Erika, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So, I live in London, despite being French, and I work now as a Salesforce developer. I started my journey with Salesforce about 2 years ago, and prior to that, I have no background in IT. Didn't think I will end up in this exciting career, and yeah, that's me.
Wow, that's amazing. So, how is it working with Salesforce?
I think it's definitely always very exciting because you are delivering something that is tangible. You are adding value to your customer, whether that they are external or internal. So at the end of the day, you have the satisfaction of, okay, this is what I did. And you are always learning. And the learning journey is always it's a challenging, but in a good way, because you have Trailhead to help you, you have the community, you have YouTube videos. So you always keep being entertained while learning more and in a enjoyable way, I would say.
Amazing. So can you take us through your entire day? Like, what does a day in your life typically look like?
So I wake up pretty early because I have two kids that also wake up early.
Wow.
So basically, the good things they make the bed, so that's good. I go out of the bed and then they make my bed, so that is very helpful in the morning. But
Yes.
basically, yeah, I work from home, so I will be in
Okay.
front of my computer at 8 a.m. And I will do a bit of reading, checking LinkedIn, what's new, what other people in the community are doing, the events. Then I will, so the day, basically, my day starts the day before. Before I leave the job, I have write all my notes of everything I've done and all the bugs that happens and why I make the choice of writing my code in a way, because I mean, you write something, it doesn't work, and so 2 days later you forget why you write it that way. So basically, at the end of the previous day, I wrote all my notes, and then I kind of like know, okay, tomorrow I will see what happened. And during the night when you sleep, I don't know, you dream of code, or you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, why don't I try this instead? And so pretty much I'm excited to start my day by trying this new idea that I have. Okay, let me try this way to make it work the way I want. And so I will start like this. And then I will get stuck at some point on something sometimes a bit silly. So I will ask one of my colleagues to like, oh, I'm having this error. I don't understand how I can pass it. And so we will kind of work together on how to solve it. And pretty much that will be my day. A lot of the day is me and the computer, me and Trailhead. And then when I get really stuck, then I will ask, like, I will bug one of my colleagues for maybe, if it's an easy one, it's like a 10 minutes. Sometimes it's not so easy and it takes an hour. And yeah, that will pretty much be my day. Very exciting all the time. And the hours go flying, like flying. You're like, oh, let's have a break. And all of a sudden it's lunchtime and you just didn't see the time coming. So yeah, that's my.
Wow. Wow. So I can make out two things from your answer is you're extremely organized and you don't hesitate in asking questions to your colleagues. That's great. I mean, I really like that trait.
I have no choice to ask questions because I'm not from an IT background. So often they will drop words and I'm like, what is that? So I will go to Wikipedia, no shame. I go to Wikipedia, I kind of read to have the high level of what they want. And then I will say, okay, that's how I think I will write my code. So like I have a strategy and plan. Is that correct? Like, am I going like the proper way? And then and you need the help of other people because I'm still junior. It's a new language, and of course you can copy code from other people, but let's face it, often the code you find on Google is not a really nice written code. So potentially you don't understand it, and if you don't understand it, don't copy it. That is rule number one. And then rule number two is just try to write code that is sustainable, so simple and clear and concise. And sometimes to get to that level, you need to ask like, okay, do I need to do something silly, but do I need to do a loop, or can I avoid doing a loop? And that you will know from experience. So yeah, asking question, it's don't feel ashamed. It's better to ask a lot of questions, especially at the beginning of your journey, than to not ask question and in 5 years you're just a mediocre developer because you were too ashamed to ask a question. And I will say within the Salesforce community, it's very welcoming. You never feel stupid. Never somebody will say, "Oh, this is so stupid. You should just read that blog." I don't get those answers from the communities. So yeah, ask question. And people might not know the answer. Ask somebody else and somebody else. It took me. I have two mentors. It took me a couple of months to find them, and before I find them, I asked a lot of people. And I had a lot of rejection, and I think it's because of time, it's because of the lack of knowledge, but you have to ask questions. There is no other ways.
That's great. I completely agree with that. So since like I was reading about you and I saw that you restarted your career after a 5-year break. So what were some of the challenges that you faced along the course of your career?
So I think, well, there is a couple of things. I think when I started, so while I was not working looking after my children, this is when I was like, okay, what kind of job could I look for? Because this is an opportunity for you to change career. It's less, you have more time to think about what you want, what are the things that are important for you. So after I decided that I will go into IT, and it pretty much was because it's a growing industry. So there is more opportunity for junior people that are come from all backgrounds. And also it's exciting because one thing I discovered in the past is just I will get bored quite easily. And you never get bored with Salesforce because anyway, if you did, 3 times a year they have a release, and then 3 times a year you just have to learn new things. So it's like you keep developing yourself. So my first challenge was like how I'm gonna to learn it, knowing that everybody have different style of learning. For me is I am a slow learner. I never learn really quickly. This is not me. I learn slowly, and I learn by doing things by myself, but I need somebody to talk to me. Like for me, just reading something just by myself, it doesn't go through my mind. I need to be in a group. I need to be socializing. I need to be speaking up during my learning curve. So after looking online and looking things that will be compatible with my lifestyle, with my kids, that you drop them to school, you're picking them early. Friday afternoons they don't have school, Wednesday afternoons they don't have school. So then I find like the Supermoms course, which is available worldwide. I highly recommend it. And it was good because every week we will have a 2-hour webinar to learn a new topic. And then we will have a mixed homework every week where we will do a list of trailheads, which was very good because at the end of the course you have a minimum 100 trail in your Trailblazer, so that's good for when you look for a job. And you also been building different apps like a Service Cloud app, a recruitment app, and a sales. I forgot, but I think we did 2 or 3 apps. So it was good because it was a bit more challenging. The requirements were very more vague. So we will have to work in I worked a lot in collaboration with the other lady. Like, okay, how we tackle this, how we do this, and then we search on Trailhead how you actually implement the feature or the solution. And we also had a mentor. So the way I did is Tuesday was the webinar for 2 hours. Where Tuesday afternoon we have the homework. Thursday midday I have my mentor call, so I could show what I have in terms of the project, and then we will rectify or we'll go through the blockers that I had. And the trailhead, it took me 1 day or 1 day and a half to do it, and that was my week. I will do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday during school hours, and then I will be done for the week. And so that was like finding Supermoms and finding a course that tick my boxes, affordable, that will be learning with other people, that will be during my own time. And we also did a project. So after the 3 months, you have another 3 months working for a charity or a company to get like real experience. That was definitely a unique selling point for me, because too many companies, I was scared that too many companies, they say, yeah, you will find a job after, but then you don't. Because another blocker I had was, when you haven't worked for 5 years and you're a young mom, you do face the stereotype of nobody wants to talk to you. The recruiter are not interested in you. The hiring manager doesn't want to talk to you because they're mad at your kids are all the time sick, or you're not really focused for the work. So that was definitely a massive wall that I have to face. I cried a lot, to be honest, because I was like, wow, I've become a mom and then all of a sudden I'm like useless to society. So, but doing the Supermom course and doing a lot of trailhead and going to communities, then I think people could see the motivation, the passion, the dedication to do trailhead every single day, to like, okay, she's committed to work. I work for free on some projects, and just to like show, okay, I like to have recommendation that I am a professional. I can do it to the same level, if not more, to another person who does not have kids, for instance. And that was the two big rule, was to learn in a way that matched myself, and then to bypass the stigma that young mother, especially young mother who took a long career break, we are actually ready to go back to work.
I think your journey is really inspiring and challenging at the same time, but it is extremely, I find it extremely happy that you got a platform like Supermoms to really, like shine. You really shine out from Supermoms. So I think that was amazing. And since you're doing since you're juggling both full-time work and you have kids, how do you balance your how do you have a work-life balance?
It's a very, very good question. First of all, I can say thank you to my husband because he's helping a lot, and thank you to my children who actually listen to us. And then, like in the mornings, are pretty sufficient. As I say, they do my bed, they get ready by themselves. Well, you still have to do the hair and brush the teeth and etc. But I don't have to run around them in the morning. I will say, being honest, the first 10 months, my work balance was terrible. And that is not because my company imposed it to me. I think I have the imposter syndrome, which I think I still have it. I put pressure on myself because being a developer, it's a long journey. You are not going to be amazingly good within 3 months. That at least I don't. And I used to be always top of my class at school, always top of my work, like having really good recommendation, really amazing. So my standard of delivery has been always very high. But when you start as a developer, you can't have those expectations. And unfortunately, it took me 10 months to understand it, that, okay, I am a junior developer. I can't deliver one feature every day, which was before I thought that's the way it's supposed to be. And I would say my first tip will be, don't overstress yourself. It's a long journey. It's going to take time. You're not going to be the top performer within 1 year, or maybe at the end of the 1 year, but you're not going to enter and be a top performer. That is it's I will not say it's impossible, because nothing is impossible, but you might put too much pressure on yourself that are not necessary. And I will say the second thing is to put expectation, do your own race. So for me, what I do in the morning, I'm like, okay, that's my plan for the day. Worst case scenario, I learned that my approach was wrong. Best case scenario, my approach was right. It's passing my test class, and then I can do a delivery. And that is my approach every single day. So I have my best case scenario, my worst case scenario, but all of them are winning. That's what allowed me to actually, when I finish my work around 5, to say, okay, I've done my job, I can switch off. Because again, before, I wasn't able to switch off. I will be with my kid thinking of my code, sleeping and dreaming of the code. So I think those will be the 2 tips to have a good work-life balance. It's to learn to turn off and to learn to have expectation, to have your own expectation of the day. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think you are a superwoman, according to me.
Yeah.
So you started your career with business development, and you then gradually progressed into executive, like business development executive. So at which point in your career did you decide to switch to Salesforce? I mean, what interested?
So I work in digital transformation programs, and this is where I was like, okay, IT is going big, and IT is going available to everyone, because every company will have to become digital. It's going to have to be part of competitive advantage. So there will be more space for everyone. Then I was looking at the best company to work, and Salesforce come across, and I use Salesforce as an end user, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna to learn Salesforce. And the reason why I decided to transitioning, I could have done, I don't know, Angular or JavaScript, but they don't have Trailhead, they don't have communities, and so it's very lonely. And what I wanted is to be in a technology that will survive in the next 5 years. Number one, that it's pretty much implemented in the majority in all the companies. So then there is a lot of employment. Number 3 was that you are able to learn at your own pace with and collaborating with everyone across the world. That was definitely a key point for me. And you can find a job everywhere in the world with it, because I'm based in London, but I'm half French, half Spanish. My husband is American. It's like London is home, but maybe in 10 years, I don't know. Like, I want to have the possibility that I'm not constrained on one little things. And that was the reason. But Salesforce as a brand, I would say Salesforce as a brand, that's what caught me. It's gender equality, it's diversity approach that is very close to my values, and there is space for everyone at any level. So that's the reason I decided, let's go to a Salesforce career. And there is, again, I would emphasize, it's open for everyone. You don't need to have an IT background. You don't need to work like 80 hours a week to be in a Salesforce career. You don't need to be a developer to be in the Salesforce. You can be an administrator. You can be a business analyst. For me, I went to the developer just because it was by accident. In the sense, I was looking for a job as an administrator after my Supermom course.
Okay.
I had 4 interviews with 4 different companies. All of them asked me if I wanted to be a developer. And at that point, I was like, well, it's COVID. The likelihood of being employed during COVID after a 5-year break is quite low. So I started to do some trailheads, some other course online, asking people, how to read, where are the things where I could go to learn. And my friend told me, oh, why don't you apply to my husband's company? I was like, I don't know. I look at the requirement. I'm like, okay, at least I understand what they want me to do, but I don't know how to do it. And my friends say, you should do it. And I say, oh, I don't want to lie. I'm terrible. I'm very harsh on myself. So imagine me saying, yeah, I'm so amazing. Then they give me the work and I don't know how to do it. I was really stressed. But at the end, I had the meeting with the hiring manager, and I've been honest. I say, I'm self-taught. That means there is a lot of gaps. And I'm confident in doing 5 lines of code, which for any developer, 5 lines is very, very little. But she was fine because she could see the dedication from my Trailhead account. She could see my recommendation from previous work. She did ask me if I was sure 100% I wanted to be a developer, because a lot of people will start as a Salesforce developer, don't enjoy it, or they think it's a quick journey to be a good developer, which is not, and then they lose the race against themselves and decide to go project management or business analyst or just continue as an admin. And which I said, no, I'm happy to be a developer. And then I got the job. The odds were really against me, because not working for 5 years, not having the knowledge, the experience, but yet they took me. And I think my message will be, even if you are like me, have the imposter syndrome, think, oh, there is thousands of people better than me, I will say personality make a big difference. Dedication make a big difference, and you might start thinking, oh, I don't know anything, but then in 1 year be much better and have a good adding value to the company. So if you think you can't do it, just apply and be honest. I'm comfortable doing this, and in order for me to be better, like for me, I started in July 2020. In November, I said to my manager, I'm going to do the Right Woman course. because I'm not learning as quick as I want. I'm still struggling because again, I'm a slow learner. Like I'm smart, but I'm a slow learner. When it comes to development, I'm just really slow. It's not so easy for me to learn. So I say I will do the Rad Woman course. If you have a course for me within the company, I would like to take it, which they give it to me. And I find mentors to help me. And so, I arrived, so I can do 5 lines. And then I could understand what they wanted, what kind of project, what kind of levels they're asking me to have. And I have to emphasize my company has been really good because they haven't told me you're not fast enough, you don't deliver enough, this is bad quality, but right, good quality. It's slow, but it's good quality. But they've been always very tolerant. And just me, by putting those things in place, then slowly but surely, I'm going where I want to be. And as a developer, you need that. You need to think, that's my job, and I need to ask questions to my colleagues. And if I feel I need a training, and like the Rad Woman, it's free. So let me tell you about the Rad Woman. The Rad Woman, it's a charity that's based in America, but everyone across the world can apply. You can apply 2 times a year. The next time it's end of August, you can apply, which you have to attend 1 mandatory session. And then after you put the days that you can, the days and the hour, you can commit yourself to do the course. And you will be in a small group of, I don't know, 10 people maybe, with the 2 coach. And you will have 1 session a week of maybe 1 hour and a half, and then homework every week, sorry. And that is for 3 months. And then I did the Rad Woman Part 1. They don't ask you to have an IT background. They don't ask you to know, you don't need to know to read code or have writing code before. So that is a plus. It's free. It's for majority, it's only women. And they go, I feel when a woman is explaining code to another woman, we use a lot of image like like a cooking or things or house things that we can relate to and make the understanding much easier. So that helped me a lot. The exercise was simple enough that you can memorize them and say, oh, I have to do a loop, I have to do a statement, and I know exactly the syntax. Because me, often, I'm write half the syntax, and in the middle, I put plain English. That's what I do. And that's is like, okay, I think I write it like this. I do a mix of English, mix of code. And that is a very good thing to do. Don't write code like always perfect. Just start writing something. Don't have the white page syndrome. Write something, even if it's half code, half English. Write something, then you know where you're going. And I did the Rad Woman 1 in March. I finished in May. And it was one of the top courses I've done for development because it goes very slowly. You are with other ladies. The coach are amazing. You have, how they call it? Basically, you can have a Zoom call. You have a Zoom call pretty much every day where you can go and ask a question about the homework or something you didn't understand. Yeah. So another tip is, if you can, the Rad Woman, the next slot will be end of August. You check on Twitter, you can ask me. I'm happy to send you the link to register. But that is if you want to be a developer or you want to learn how to read. Highly recommend them.
Wow, thank you. So to our audience, if you are interested in becoming a Salesforce developer, please apply for the Rad Woman courses. They'll be opening the slots in August. So I think, Erika, you made a brave move by choosing your career and then evolving gradually kudos to you. Um, so, what would be your advice for people who want to transition from a non-technical background to Salesforce?
I think it depends. Well, I think the first thing will be what career within Salesforce you want to do. And to be honest with yourself, like what excites you. Um, I know being a developer, you need to enjoy, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That is the rule number one. You need to there is a bug, you touch something, everything break. You need to not have a panic attack and think, okay, worst case scenario, I do Control Z and I go back to where I was. But that is if you want to be a developer, don't be scared of breaking things. Don't be scared of, and that is something you learn. But I think deep down, you need to enjoy problem solving. If you don't enjoy problem solving and you enjoy a lot of talking to people, being in meetings, and be a business analyst, you add value. But a developer, it's a lot of, it's a non-stop thinking, and there is always a problem that needs a solution. That is your job. In essence, that's your job. And of course, you brainstorm with other people, but you brainstorm mainly with yourself. As a business analyst, you talk with the end user what they want. You talk with the business, with the team, the development team, how it's possible, how it fits within the project itself. And that is, you have a different kind of reflection, but you're not facing so much rejection from the machine or from the code saying, not working, this is the error. You don't get that. You are more often on the phone, talking to people, writing brief, writing requirement or acceptance criteria, and doing and following up with the demos. As an administrator, you work closely with the end user, and then of course it depends if you want to work for a small company or a big company. Because now I'm thinking, if you work for a big company, if you're a business analyst, majority of your work will be business analyst, and 10% will be admin or development, really light things. If you developer is you do 80% development, 10% demo, 10% business analyst. And if you admin, it's pretty much those percentage. But if you work in a smaller company, admin can be 50-50 admin, business analyst, admin a little bit developer, business analyst, because maybe it's one or two people within the organization. And the level of complexity of the Salesforce org is also very different. I work in the financial industry, so security is really big. You have the process are very rigorous, but in a charity you don't get that. It's more open. Of course, security is important for us all, but the barriers are different. And I think the first question will be for which kind of company you want to work, and what excites you in the Salesforce career. You can also be a Salesforce consultant, where you do a little bit of everything, and you work on a project. So you do in one client, maybe for 2 months or maybe for 1 year, and then you will be working with your colleague from your consultancy and from the other end user from the clients. So think what you want to do. I would say also in terms of money, think what do you need, because I don't know, I'm talking about myself, but sometimes, especially when you have kids and you live in London, you have to look at, okay, what's going to be the salary and what are the trade-offs. If you need a nanny all the time, you have more flexibility and you don't need a nanny. Those are the reasons you will go through a charity, because the hours are more flexible. The salary is lower, but the hours are more flexible. You don't need to have a nanny. And that is by itself, it's a huge savings. Or I don't know, you need private health insurance, or things like this. And I think if you have a salary in mind, that can also navigate you. Do I want a small company, a bigger company? In a bigger company, what are the requirements that they ask? How I can get in? And for you to know that, just say, okay, I want to be like a business analyst or like a Salesforce developer. Okay, what are the salary range? You go to Mason Frank, and you go in their website, you have a PDF, and per country and per roles, you have the salary that you can be expected. I'm not saying you will get that salary, but it's the salary that is expected. And so that can also help you to make a decision. You will also see what kind of jobs are more in demand. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't think like having an IT background will stop you, because that is 100% not true. It will not stop you. A lot of companies are hiring people who don't have an IT background, and that, I think, there is many reasons. One is we have been using software as an end user, not knowing what it means, and so our expectations are much higher, because we don't think, oh, I don't know how to do this, so I can't do it. You're like, no, I want to, as an end user, I want this to work like this. And you're not thinking what it means to develop it. You're just like, that makes sense. That as a user experience, that makes sense. Making 5 clicks to get there, that does not make sense. And we already have that in us, because it will be like, I don't know, I don't know, I'm trying to find an example, but that will be the main reason. Is we've been end user that are not thinking on how to develop things, so we put less limits into what is possible, what is achievable, and what is not. And there is a need. So at one point, you can't just employ all graduates. You have to employ the whole range, and then you always have other things to bring in the table. I said, like, for instance, that you are more willing, I don't know it's the right word, but user experience is in you, and you don't think about the code. You're also thinking in a different way, i.e. you really want to understand what it does in simple words. So actually, when you're talking to users, you are using a vocabulary that everybody can understand. And I will emphasize that a lot, because the first 6 months, I was talking with a developer, and I was like, I understand what you're saying in English, but I don't understand what it means in real life. Like, what does that mean? And that is because they've been in this world that the word they use is very specific. It means something, but if you're not a developer, you don't know what it really means. And then when you talk to business user, well, they are like, what is that? Like, I don't understand what you mean. And that is, again, another added value that you can bring. And also maybe be more collaborative from a personality point of view, not saying like the others are not collaborative, but if you come from a non-IT background, you are used to be on a call all the time. You are used to say, I don't know. You are used to say, let me double check. You're used to say those things, and you are comfortable. Then that's an added value, because often projects will fail, not because of the technology itself, but because of human behavior. And so those 3 key points, if people ask you on an interview, why should I take you? Those are easy things that you can give, and they will be, yeah, that makes sense, So, yeah.
Wow, and that was amazing. I think there are a lot of takeaways from this question that you have answered. For people who are listening to us, you can follow Erika on Twitter and LinkedIn. She keeps on posting insightful articles and posts. So, Erika, you have truly set an incredible example of for everyone out there by restarting your career after 5 years of break. So, what suggestion would you give to individuals who are willing to restart their career after a long break?
I will say, because you will hit the wall from recruiters, not even want to give you the time because you stay at home for 5 years and you have younger children. I will say do a lot of trailheads, and don't do like 5 trailheads in 1 week and then do nothing the next 2 weeks, because you need to show consistency. You need to show reliability. Sorry for the accent. And you need to show passion. If you show those 3 things, it will be easy to find a job after a career break. And that will say not just Salesforce, any job. If you show those 3 personality traits, that will always win over over experience if they are looking at a junior level. That is number 1. So I will say do trailhead every day. And when I do trailhead, maybe you know when you go to trailhead, you can have an exercise and there is 5. I'm not saying you have to do the full one, but at least do one sub one. And so at least, and post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter that you've done that. And then slowly but surely you will you will connect with other people from the industry that are Salesforce. Recruiter will start to see your name just because you're posting things on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And then they will see when you started your journey and how you are. And then for me, I know that in 3 months, I have 100 badge. And then in 6 months, I have 200. And it's like, okay, she is dedicated. She is doing it every day. So that is my biggest advice. Do trailhead every day. It's free. The only thing will stop you is yourself. And you just need to be motivated, consistent, and to show you're passionate. It's very easy to do one a week, one a day. So that would be my first one. The second, to post it on Twitter and LinkedIn, so then people can see it, because if you don't show it, then nobody knows. Another tip, I would say, don't do a regular CV. Regular CV are good when you have something to show. Me, I had very little to show in the Salesforce ecosystem. And I didn't want to make it obvious. I haven't worked for 5 years, so it's a shame I don't have an example of my CV. But basically, what I did the infographic CV. So it was A4 page, blue, like a background blue with a lot of pictures. Well, not picture, but images, where I put my 3 certification, that I was a ranger on trailhead. For my work experience, I have like an arrow with the date and the name of the company and my job. And for the 5 years that I didn't work, I put project manager of the McEvilley family, which McEvilley is my last name. And so, and then I put the Superman. So it's not obvious. I haven't worked for 5 years, but you see, when you see infographic CV, you can see again, you see dedication, you see consistency, you see you thinking out the box. You're not trying just to tick a box and like, oh, let's see when it takes me. You're like, no, I really want a job. I will do what it takes. I'm happy to do things that are not necessarily the way everybody does. And that will get you interviews. The 4 interview I had during COVID, after 5 years of not working and no experience, a lot of people say, oh, we love your CV. Can we have a meeting? And can you send us your full CV? So you need 2 CV. You need an infographic CV that pretty much work like an advertisement campaign. Don't put a lot of word, just put a lot of image, make it fun. And then have another CV. And the other CV, I will say, make it fun as well. Don't do black and white, boring, because then it's like, where is the consistency between the infographic that was so good and that CV that is just like, when you look at it, it hurts your eyes. So kind of like make the effort on the CV. This is your passport for anyone who wants to have a talk to you. So that will be my second tip. My third tip will be, as a junior, if you haven't worked for 5 years, potentially don't lose time too much with recruiters, because recruiters make money on you. As a junior, the salary, like a company will hire junior happily, but they don't want to pay 3,000 or 5,000 pounds to hire a junior. They want to pay that fee in order to have somebody that is experienced. So on LinkedIn or on the job post, you might not see jobs at your level. I will say apply and go for interviews if you get them, and maybe you will get rejected. But just go to those meetings, those interviews, to prepare yourself when you actually have the meeting with the hiring manager. I will also say apply directly to all the major companies, directly on their website. Don't go to the recruitment, because it does not make sense for a company to pay 5,000 pounds to hire you, and you're junior, you need training, you need support. It does not make sense, but they will potentially hire you, like they did to me, if you go straight on their website. So make a list of all the company in your area, or like all the top companies from across all industry, I would say, because Salesforce is across all industry, and apply. And don't wait that they have a job. Maybe just send them your CV and say, I'm looking for a job as a Salesforce, etc. This is my trailhead. This is a little bit about me. I'm happy to have an informal call if you want. Just leave the door open. And that shows that you're motivated and you have what it takes to get the job done. And I will say, be patient with yourself, in the sense that you might not find a job in the next 2 months. It might take you 3 months or 6 months. But what is the most important is, while you are looking for a job, don't lose hope. Continue to do trailhead every day. And I will say, even if you lose faith, just send me a message. I will pin you up, and I will, give you the little push for you to continue. I know the time now are more difficult, but companies are hiring. There is a lot of need for women within the Salesforce ecosystem for the gender balance. So we don't have the door closed for us. The door is actually open. And yes, there is competition, but as any job, if you show lack of motivation, lack of dedication, then even if you were to be as a waitress, it will be the same. So those will be my 4 tips. It is possible. I am the example. It is achievable a little bit every day. And you can all do it. You can all do it. And it will all work for you at some point. And maybe, if it's not working when you thought it will be working, then there is a reason. Like for me, I remember 3 of my colleagues from the Superman, they found a job before me. I was very happy for them. At one point, the last one, I was like, why is it not working for me? And I was like, Erika, don't be jealous. This is bad karma. Be happy for her. It will come at your time. And then 3 weeks later, I had a job offer, and I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad, because that's exactly what I was looking for. So don't compare yourself with others. Be patient with yourself. It will work out for you. Just do a little bit every day. And a little bit every day always take you much, much further than the best sprinter, So that's my advice.
Wow, that was like some really good advice there. And I completely agree with, you need to have next level passion and dedication and consistency, definitely, to stand out and to get what you really want. So that was an amazing answer, and I hope that people take away um, your insights and your wisdom out of this. So thank you. So any parting words that you would like to say?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry, so this is the end of the session. So anything that you want to add at the last?
Yeah, you are amazing. Believe in yourself, it will work out. That's my last word.
That Sure. Thank you. So while we are closing, I just want to introduce Apphienz. So we are Salesforce consulting partner, and offices are based in San Diego, California, and we are currently hiring. So people out there who are interested, we are hiring for different roles. Please drop in your CV, and we can take it forward from there. So thank you so much, Erika. It was great having you on the live, and I'm like grateful. Uh, I've learned so much, and I think people out there also have learned a lot. And thank you so much for taking time out while you are on your holiday.
Yeah, no problem. I'll give back all the luck and the help and support I